Good morning all. Welcome to co-creating your reality. Where you're just walking in the bush. Oh sorry. I mean the lovely, well-trimmed, well-kept hedges. Or as we say in Trinidad, go and take a walk in the bush. Take a hike. Take a hike, right? Where you just see a rabbit just walking normal in your road. And you just stop to wonder, how the hell do people kill and eat a nice little playful cute rabbit? How can you kill and eat such a cute little rabbit, and on top of that bowling, oh, this is the sweetest meat on earth. A rabbit, a cute little baby pet, is the sweetest meat on earth. Welcome to co-creating your reality, where we build the reality we want, we deserve, we desire. We attract the reality and the experiences we deserve and desire through spiritual action, through moral action, through the path of least violence. So this is your daily reminder that vegetarianism is included in the pathway of non-violence, right? A vegetarian lifestyle is included and is a very significant part in the pathway of non-violence, right? So just be conscious about what you consume from a spiritual perspective, physical perspective, all perspectives. Be mindful as to what you consume, right? Welcome to co-creating your reality, where even though you might wake up and you might be freezing, you have built a routine, and you are encouraged to build a routine for yourself, because building a routine is a form of discipline, right? Now I am making reference to this with regard to exercise, and not any hardcore exercise, but just doing what you are capable of doing at the time, right? To start with, building a routine is discipline, and discipline is the only route in which you can discipline, and consistency, right, is the only way that you can achieve your goals, whether it's health goals, weight loss goals, whatever it is, career, whatever it is that you are building, right? Discipline and consistency is the key, right? So, because many a times we claim to want better, right? We claim to want better, but all we do is complain, right? So this video channel is about acting on that which we say we want. Acting on that which we say we want, because it is only an action that we can bring about the desired benefit, right? And I'll rephrase that. It is not only in action, but it is in taking right action, right? Taking right action. Huge ass bird just fly over. Yeah. So welcome to co-creating your reality, where we build the life that we deserve and desire, or build experiences founded upon, or that rest upon, right action. Now whatever is built on right action cannot be destroyed, right? That which is built upon right action cannot be destroyed, right? So in my past couple of videos, I would have introduced sociology, tied it in with natural law, because sociology and psychology was my field of study, and natural law, spiritual law. Well, one is my field of academic study. Spiritual law is my part of spiritual study, right? is my part of spiritual study. And as I was saying, my goal is to blend these two disciplines, philosophy, spirituality, into academia, right? Into the field of study that I studied, because sociology is in everything. Everything is sociology, right? So my goal has been to build a spiritual sociology where sociology can advance to a higher level to actually create the change that is intended, right? To actually create the change that is intended, that was always intended for sociology, right? So I started talking about micro sociology, which deals with the day-to-day interactions or day-to-day habits, day-to-day way of living, day-to-day interacting with the social world, right? Day-to-day interactions with our own self, right? Micro sociology, right? Micro sociology. How we can create change or we can impact social structures through our day-to-day activity, our day-to-day habits, and not sit back and kick back and say, oh well, make ourselves the victim of the systems in which we live, right? Now, I had mentioned in a previous video, which might upset people in Caribbean academia and stuff, which said that to stop, like lecturers, tutors, etc., need to stop teaching that the white man or the Western world is responsible for all the problems in the world, right? That the Western world is responsible for all the problems in the world, and that history is history, and that we should make an attempt to move past that which is gone, and through right action, create through right action, micro sociology, create a new reality, right? Now, this might vex some, it might anger some, but in the long run, people will understand that it is actually the only way to move forward. It is the only way to heal through the application of the Hermetic principles. I also talked about how Karl Marx's theory is actually flawed, and this is based on my personal experience. And according to the sociological imagination, right? The sociological imagination, you can use your personal experience to connect with the wider social structures in which you live, right? This is what the sociological imagination is, using your own personal experience to connect with wider social and cultural structures in which you reside, right? So I'm using my personal experience, my personal healing journey, to show that Karl Marx is actually held back evolution in a sense, right? True spiritual evolution, true spiritual evolution, because he would have inverted Hegel's contribution. Hegel was a philosopher who would have said that consciousness determines our reality, and then Karl Marx come and be like, oh well, it is the material circumstance you live in, it is the material circumstance you find yourself in that determines your reality, right? When actually, through the power of your mind and through the power of right action, you could actually create a reality through your consciousness. That's the power of the mind, right? So what Karl Marx had done now is to basically tell people that, hey, you are whilst manipulation is a hell of a thing, right? Manipulation is a hell of a thing, right? So whilst trying to empower people through this big set of revolution and revolutionary action and things, right? True power lies in your individual consciousness, and through linking that individual consciousness with source energy, right? That's true power. Connecting each of our individual mindset, right? All is mind, right? So when we talk about third world and first world and stuff, third world and first world, yes, it does have to do to a certain extent about buildings and structures and the beautiful physical things of the world, right? But what would have manifested these beautiful physical things of the world? What would have manifested into 3D reality these flawless systems, right? Flawless systems, so-called, right? That we think, okay, this world is first world, or this, as opposed to third world, right? it would have existed in the mind of someone first, right? It would have existed in the mind of someone first. So even if you are in a third world country, or you consider yourself to be in a third world country, through individual right action, which leads to collective right action, which basically equates to holding your government responsible or withdrawing your participation from government, right? Because most times government is involved in wrong action, right? So pulling back your energy from these systems, right, is a way to change your mindset. And I always believe that third world and first world, the difference between third world and first world is not necessarily a difference in the buildings, is not necessarily a difference in the material structures, but it's a difference in mindset. It is a difference in mindset, right? Third world mentality versus first world mentality, right? Third world mentality versus first world mentality, right? Now I'll explain what I mean, right? So for years in sociology, I was taught that Western capitalism and so on was responsible for our problems, right? From undergrad straight up to masters, right? All our content that we read and all this nonsense that they fill our minds with and whatever, right? First world is responsible for all. Now nothing is wrong with facts and knowing what happened in your history and whatever, right? That's all well and good, right? But to perpetuate this flawed knowledge or flawed information, I should say, to perpetuate, because there's nothing like negative knowledge, right? But to perpetuate skewed information, right, is not doing justice to me, you, or anyone in academia, right? Now, right, so the difference between first world and third world in my eyes is the mentality, right? Is the mentality, mindset. And I will tie this in with micro-sociology, and I will draw reference to a very specific thing. Now, this is the third Western country that I've traveled to, right? This is the third Western country that I've traveled to in my life. And in each of the countries I've traveled to, there was a common theme. There was a common theme that pervaded, and I've always asked myself the question, what is the reason for this? Why is this so, as opposed to in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And it has to do with criminal activity, crime, etc. Now, there's crime all over the world, right? But in each of the places I've visited and where I've stayed and stuff, I've noticed that people, one, they don't have burglar proof and thing, right? It's just like how in Trinidad we have we lock ourselves in. We have one gate and then a gate in front of a gate and then a door in front of a gate and a door behind two gates, right? And then when we go to sleep, we have to sleep with a gun under our pillow and so on. I'm just joking, right? Right. So when we have to basically feel like a prisoner in our own house, because you have to always look over your shoulder and see if you're going to get robbed, right? If somebody is going to break in your home, all these things, right? I have noticed in the 3 times that I've visited Western countries is that people go all over the place and they just leave their car open. They just leave their house open like normal, right? And nobody interferes with anything of anybody, right? Nobody just interferes. And this, to me, the 3 times that I've been to the 3 different places, each time I was mind blown by this. Each time I was mind blown by this one particular thing, and I've never, I don't know what explains this phenomenon, right? And the only thing that I could come up with is mindset, right? And this ties into natural law principles, the path of least harm, right? The pathway of least violence, where you understand that, hey, this is somebody else's property, this is somebody else's car, this is somebody else's home. It is not my right. It is not my right to vandalize, to break into anybody else's property, home, take what they have worked for, right? Because it does not belong to me, right? At an individual level, I'm talking about, right? Talking about crime and solving the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Since the government, although so much money passing through their hands and trying all different mechanisms to stop the crime problem, all it takes is providing the right knowledge, right? Providing the right knowledge, which is a part of the yamas and the niyamas in the Eastern tradition, the part of natural law, part of hermetic principles, right? Egyptian culture and so on, would provide the answers, right? The answer is already there for how we can solve, and the answer is right knowledge. The answer is knowledge, right? The part of least violence is the part, teaching the part of non-violence is the only part to solving our crime situation. And unless people get that through the thick skull, we will remain as a third world country in Trinidad and Tobago, and we will never rise up from that state unless you realize that the hermetic principles, natural law, yamas and the niyamas is the only path to evolve, right? Right? So instead of awaiting government handout to give you a swimming pool or a freaking basketball court in order to buy your vote, right? Instead of leaders, cultural leaders and so on, pressuring government to give certain areas, certain crime-ridden areas, or certain stereotyped crime-riddled areas, a little basketball court, a little swimming pool, and be like, hey, you take that and be content about that, right? And give me your vote in exchange for it, right? These things would come in time if you apply right action first. Make right action your foremost principle, and the pools, the basketball court, the sporting facilities, all those things will come subsequent to that, right? But the first thing that you need to do is to align with right action and to withdraw your energy from the systems. Stop giving your energy to the systems which you complain about, which you do not get the results that you deserve from. Stop giving your energy to these systems, right? And stop allowing politicians to buy your vote. Your vote is way more precious and powerful. Your vote is way more precious and powerful than allowing some immoral, dumb, dotish politician to buy your vote. It makes you into a fool, right? It makes you into a fool, right? The only way to build yourself and to build your society is through the path of right action, and I will emphasize this until I am no longer in a position to emphasize it.